Hello students, today we will study about the solution of a quadratic equation by factorization. This is the topic of standard 10, chapter number 4, quadratic equations. In previous classes, we have studied about how to form a quadratic equation from the given situation from the word problem. In this class, we will study how to solve the quadratic equations by factorization. So, for this, we will take one of the sum of the exercise 4.2, question number 1, sub question number 2. What is the question? Question is 2x square plus x minus 6 is equals to 0. So, this is a quadratic equation with variable x. Now, we have studied in the polynomials that there is also a quadratic types of polynomial. We used to find out the zeros of the polynomial, and at that time what we do, we factorize the given quadratic polynomial and then compare it with the zero. As we factorize the quadratic polynomial, it will converted into the linear form, factors in the form of the factors, and the factors are the linear expressions, and then we compare that linear expression with 0. We get the two linear expressions in the multiplication, and by comparing both the linear expression with 0, we find the two different zeros. So that zeros are the solutions for this quadratic equations. For polynomial, we used to say it zeros, and for quadratic equation, we said the same zeros as a solution. Okay, both the things are equal, same. So here, this is a quadratic equation because equal to 0 is given here. Now, we have to factorize this quadratic equation. So, there are terms three terms are there, so we have to use this splitting the middle term method, and you have already studied in standard 8 and 9. So what we have to do to split the middle term? How to split the middle term? Notice that this constant is 6 and the coefficient of x square is 2. Multiply both these numbers, 6 and 2. So by multiplying this 2 and 6, we will get the 12. Now we have to factorize 12 such that the subtraction of both this factor becomes 1. Why 1? Because the coefficient of x is plus 1. So we have to factorize 12 such that the subtraction, why subtraction? Because here the sign is of minus. So we have to subtract both the factors of the 12 such that we get the value plus 1. So yes, 12 is factorized as 4 3 is 12, and the subtraction of 4 and 3 gives us plus 1. So now we have to write down this middle term as 4x and 3x form. So 2x square remains as it is. First we have to write down 4x. Now we have to write down 3x, but minus 3x, right? So 4x minus 3x minus 6 is equals to 0. Now you can notice that here is plus x, and here we write down it as plus 4x minus 3x. And what is the result of plus 4x and minus 3x is plus x. So we do not change here the any value of x. We just represent plus x as plus 4x minus 3x. So this is called the splitting the middle term method. Now we have 4 terms. Now we have to make a pair of first two term and second two terms. So first two terms, from first two term we have to find out the common factors. So the common factors of both these two terms is 2x. So 2x, by taking common, what will remain here is only x, because x is 2 times here. So only x is remain plus x we have taken as common, and out of 4, 2 2s are 4, 2 is common, so 2 is remain. So here we will get 2x in the bracket x plus 2. In the same way, from these two terms, third and fourth term, we have to take common factors. So the common factors of 3x and 6 is minus 3. Okay. So what will remain here? If we take minus 3 as a common, only x. And here what will remain? 3 2s are 6. So 2 will remain because minus 3 we have taken as a common. And this minus sign will become now plus is equals to 0. Now you can notice that out of 4 terms, there are only 2 terms are remaining. And from both these 2 terms, you can notice that x plus 2 is again common. So we have to take x plus 2 from both the term as a common. So doing so, what will remain here? Only 2x. And what will remain here? Minus 3. So put it in the another bracket. So we get x plus 2 in one bracket, 2x minus 3 in another bracket is equals to 0. So now you can notice that these two are the factors of this quadratic equation, and both are in the form of linear expression because the power of x is 1. Here also the power of x is 1. So this is a linear expression and this is also a linear expression. Now multiplication of both is equals to 0. That means out of two bracket, value of one bracket must be 0, but we don't know which bracket is equals to 0. So we will compare first bracket with 0 and then we compare second bracket with 0, and from that we find the value of x. So by comparing x plus 2 with 0, we will get x is equals to minus 2. Now we will compare 2x minus 3 with 0. So we get the value of x is equals to, by taking right hand side this 3, that will become 3 plus, and by taking this 2 to the right hand side, it will goes in the denominator with 3. So we get the value of x is equals to 3 by 2. So in this way, we get the two values of x. One is minus 2, second one is 3 by 2. Both these values are called the solution of this quadratic equation. Solution means if we put x is equals to minus 2 left hand side, we will get the total value equal to 0. In the same way, if we put x is equals to 3 by 2 in this equation, we will get the total value is equals to 0. And here one thing we have to notice that one of the question may arise in your mind that do we get the another zeros, another values of x such that this all becomes 0? No, because the maximum power is 2, we get the at most 2 zeros. We cannot get more than 2 zeros or more than 2 factors for this quadratic equation. Okay? Okay, so now we will study the question number 1, sub question number 3. So, what is the question is root x root 2 x square plus 7x plus 5 root 2 is equals to 0. We have to factorize this quadratic equation and find out the solution by the factorization method. So, before we solve this equation, we have to notice or we have to study or we have to keep in mind one thing is that if we have root 2 into root 2, that means a is a real number. So if there is a square root of the same number in the multiplication, we can write down it as a. If we have root 2 into root 2, then we can write down is equals to 2. If we have root 3 into root 3, we can write down it as 3. So in common form, root a into root a is equals to a. So we have to use this thing whenever necessary. We can put down this a instead of multiplication of root 3, and we can also put root 3 into root 3 in place of 3, or root a into root a in place of a. Okay, so now what we have to do is constant and coefficient of x square. Multiply both the numbers. So we will get root 2 into 5 root 2. So now this root 2 and root 2 gives us 2. 2 multiplied by 5 and 2 5s are 10. So we have to factorize this 10 such that the addition of both the factors gives us 7. Okay, so we can factorize 10 as 5 2s are 10 and the addition of 5 and 2 is 7. So we can split this middle term as instead of 7x 5x plus 2x. So the first term remains as it is root 2x square plus instead of 7x we have to write down 5x plus 2x and the third term here will remain as it is as a fourth term 5 root 2 is equals to 0. So we split this middle term 7x as 5x plus 2x. Now 4 terms are there. Make a pair of first two term and make a pair of third and fourth term. So by making this a pair, what we can get as a common factor from this two term? Only x is a common. So by taking x as a common, what will remain? Root 2 remains as it is, x remains as it is because 2 power is there, 1 is outside, 1 is inside. Plus x is common here, so only 5 is remaining. This bracket is over. Now what we can get common from here? By seeing the first time, we cannot conclude that there is nothing is common because x is not there, root 2 is not there, here is a 2 but 2 is not here. But as I have said that we can write down a as root a into root a. So we can write down 2 as root 2 into root 2. So root 2 one times is also here. So here also root 2. This 2 we can write down into root 2 into root 2 form. So one time root 2 is common. By taking from this, one time root 2 will remain in the bracket. Root 2 into x. Plus from this now root 2 is common. So 5 is remaining. Bracket is over is equals to 0. You can notice that both these brackets values are equal. If you do not get both these bracket values equal, then there is some kind of problem in splitting the middle term. So first of all solve that problem, then again find the commons. You will get the same bracket. Okay. So now you can notice that in first term and second term this bracket is also common. So by taking this common, what will remain in the second bracket is x plus root 2 is equals to 0. So as before we have said that this quadratic equation is now converted into the two factors. Both the factors are in the linear expression form. One is root 2x plus 5, second one is x plus root 2. Multiplication of both factors is 0. Out of which one is 0? We don't know. But out of 2, one must be 0 or maybe both are 0. So compare this first one with 0. We will get root 2x plus 5 is equals to 0. So the value of x we get here is minus 5 upon root 2. And by comparing this with 0, we will get the value of x is equals to minus root 2. Okay, so in this way we can find the solution of quadratic equations by factorization. Okay, thank you.